The South Korean education system has some problems. Lots of academic pressure, like endless hours at academies, and the pressure to get into a good university affects the mental health of students. This academic pressure can cause depression and sometimes even suicide. To give some background information, according to the New York Times, a South Korean high school student sleeps only 5.5 hours a night, while spending up to 13 hours working. After school, South Korean students typically go to a hagwon, a place similar to a cram school. Some activities there are for students to memorize English vocabulary, Korean grammar rules, and math formulas. They normally stay there until 10 p.m. or even later. After hagwon, there is often still homework that needs to be done. The CDC, Center of Disease Control, says the teen should get between 8 to 10 hours of sleep a night. Evidence shows that if you don't sleep sufficiently, you have a higher risk of cardiovascular diseases, diabetes, obesity, and depression. If this system stays the same, more and more people will have health problems later on. According to the Korea Herald, the suicide rate per 100,000 people aged 9 through 24 was 7.7 in 2017. The most common reason was academic pressure. I'm pretty sure we all agree that this isn't good and that more changes need to be made. To prove this information, I interviewed a friend. Let's call him Student K. So, how many hours do you go to Hagwon a day?
A day I go talk on average of 3 hours to 5 hours, and I think that's normal for me.
And in a week?
About 15 hours to 20 hours.
How much sleep do you get in one day?
Because of my Hagwon schedule, I sleep about 5 hours to 6 hours since my school finishes at 3 and my Hagwon starts at 5 and like I have no time between to rest. And if I finish all my Hagwon or homework schedule, it is 12, so I have to sleep about 5 hours or 6 hours.
And how stressed are you in wanting to get into a good university?
Uh, to be honest, yeah, there is some. I want to go into good university, but my since my dream is not just going into good college, uh, that's I think I have more stress than that.
And what do you think is one way that could reduce your stress?
To reduce my stress, I usually go outside jogging with my dogs and or I go out to play tennis or with my sister.
Either way, one counterargument made is that it's necessary for students to attend many hours of Hagwon to get into a good university. According to Korea Trip, South Korean students focus on getting into a prestigious university starting from elementary school. Without going to Hagwons over long amounts of time, you would not have too big of a chance to get into a good university. This argument is saying that long hours at academies are necessary for academic success. There are other systems, however, that do not require many hours at Hagwons and that do not have that much pressure involved. One example of that is Finland. The Finnish education system also has its flaws, but it does have good aspects. According to the BBC, Finnish students get very little amounts of homework and there is no culture of extra private tuition. The education system is way more laid back. To show that the education system still works, you can look at the graduation rate. According to OECD's Education at a Glance 2017, the first-time graduation rate of Finland is 99%, while the rate of South Korea is 93%. This tells us that an education system with a lot of private tutoring and tons of pressure is not required to have good graduation rates. But what could be done to reduce academic pressure in South Korea? The 2018 ranking of national higher education systems, a ranking that looks at different aspects of an education system, is done by Universitas. Let's take a look at Finland and South Korea in the rankings. In the overall rankings, South Korea ranks 22nd out of 50 and Finland ranks 6th out of 50. This data shows us that even though the Finnish education system is more relaxed than the South Korean education system, it still ranks higher in international comparisons. Another thing that shows the relaxation of the Finnish education system is that according to a master's thesis from the University of Helsinki, Finland gives their students more freedom in subjects than the matriculation exam. The Korean Sunong exam, which is the Korean CSAT, is directly related to what university the student can apply for. One point of limited freedom is that in the Sunong exam, the English vocabulary is limited. Finnish students, however, do not have a limitation in vocabulary, showing that Finnish students have a bigger opportunity to learn more diverse vocabulary. According to a study done by the NCBI, students who reported more stress had lower GPAs. This shows that stress hinders effectiveness. Therefore, changing the curriculum to focus more on creativity and reducing the time spent in academies will reduce academic pressure. It will also improve the mental health of students, while it won't impact the rate of graduation negatively, nor the quality of education. In conclusion, there are things that could be done to improve the Korean education system and the mental health impacts it creates. Currently, the South Korean education system causes too much pressure and can even make people suicidal. If pressure and stress is taken away, students can be more effective as shown in the comparison with the Finnish education system. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you have a great day.